So let's continue making our calculator. The next thing I'd like to do is just align my buttons and get them out of the way. So I'm going to be in my buttons layer, select all my buttons, and I can use some of these alignment tools. So if I'd like them to be distributed properly, I can hit my distribute. And if I'd like them to be all lined up, I can line them up all together. And if they're all selected together, I can then drag them to where they need to go. Now let's add our text boxes. So I'm going to go ahead and lock our buttons layer. And next thing I want to do is I'll go to my input left layer, and I'm going to make a text box for the user to input the left side of our calculation. So to do that, I'm going to go over to my components, and I'm going to choose text input, and then oops, I'm in the wrong layer, so make sure I'm in the input left layer first. Make sure you do that. Go ahead and hit your text input, and it makes a text input for you. Go ahead and drag it up here to the left. Do the same thing for the right. So unlock that layer. Make sure you're on the right layer. Come over to your components. Make a text input box. One thing I forgot to do that's very important is give these things an instance name. So I'm going to call this one my right input, and I'll choose my left text box and give him an instance name of left input. Alright, so let's get the rest of this stuff put in here. I'm going to go to my results layer. I want this to be a dynamic text box. So I unlock that layer. I come over here to my text tool. I can have my results appear over here to the right. And this is going to be my results. I can grab that text box then, and I'm going to go ahead and drag him down and make him a dynamic text box. So make sure that when you're making this, it's a classic text, and right here choose dynamic text. So classic and dynamic, give him an instance name. I will call him results. And then I can use my selection tool to drag him to where he needs to go. I can then make another dynamic text box to hold my symbol as the user presses the buttons. So I'm going to go to the dynamic text layer, unlock that layer, use my text tool again, go ahead and draw my text box, make sure it's a classic text and dynamic text also, and call this one symbol. So give him an instance name as well. And then take that text box and put him in the right position as well. Alright, so now I'm going to start adding some actions. So I'm going to go over to my actions layer. This is where you always want to add your actions. If your actions frame is not open, remember to go to Window, go to Actions, or hit F9 so you can see your actions layer, or your actions tab. And I'm going to go ahead and add some listener functions in here. So I've already written these, so I'm just going to copy and paste them. Of course, you can pause the video and add these. Notice I have the name of my button, so these are the instance names of my buttons. If you forget the instance names of your buttons, remember that you can click on your button as long as the button layer is not locked and see your instance name. Make sure they're spelled the same way. I'm going to add an event listener for when the user clicks, and then they're going to call the +click function. So go ahead and add these event listeners in, and in the next video we'll create our functions for these.